Right. Hello my booties, how are you? Right, today we have a story called The Yellow Fairy Book. This is written by Enid Blyton, and this is The Little Princess Fenella. Right. This is a story of a strange adventure. It happened to two children, Peter and Mary. They were twins and lived with their father and mother in a small cottage. Their home was in a most exciting place, for their cottage was just outside the gates of Fairyland. Their mother sometimes did washing for the little folk, and she was allowed to go shopping in the little village inside the Golden Gates. The children loved to go with her. At first, the fairies had not been very pleased to see a boy and girl in their village beyond the gates, but they soon liked them very much. "Come and have tea with me," said Fairy Tip Tap. "I'll give you lemonade cakes, a kind you've never had before." "Come and see my big black cat," said the pixie. Tippity, "He keeps house for me. Nobody can sweep or dust better than he can." But the greatest excitement of all was when Lady Rosabelle came clattering along in her coach one day and saw Peter and Mary. She liked the look of them so much that she stopped her coach at once and leaned out of the window. "Who are these children? I want companions for my little girl, the Princess Fenella, and I think perhaps they are just the right age to be with her," she said. Out of the window peeped the small princess. She had golden curly hair, eyes like forget-me-nots, and the naughtiest smile that you have ever seen. There they are, standing in their house. "Mother," she said, when she saw Peter and Mary, "I like these children. I want them to play with me." "If they come, they will have to work with you too," said Lazy Rosabelle. "Perhaps you will do your lessons better then." Okay, eating these didn't work very well. Peter and Mary went to tea with Fenella, and the Lady Rosabelle thought what good manners they had, and how kind they were to naughty little Fenella. And that was the beginning of a grand time for the two children. Okay, I can't eat them while reading. Fenella had wonderful toys and loved to share them with Peter and Mary. They shared lessons too, and Fenella worked much harder than usual because she didn't want to be beaten by her two new friends. After lessons, they played in the garden. It was a most exciting place. There was a magic swing, which if you shut your eyes would swing you to anywhere you wanted to go. But it was dangerous to get off the swing until you were home again, because you might be left behind in some strange place. Oh, that would be scary. There was a little river where they sailed boats and paddled and bathed, and there was a tiny house just big enough for the three children to get inside and play housekeeping. There was a very high tree from which, if they climbed to the top, they could actually see the towers of Giantland very far away. And there was a magic well. The children were not allowed to go near this though. "Remember, children, never go near the magic well," Lady Rosabelle told them over and over again. "Something dreadful will happen to you if you do." Now, one day Fenella lost her favourite ball. The three children hunted everywhere, but they couldn't find it. Fenella flung herself down on the grass and wailed loudly. "What's the matter with the little lady?" suddenly said a shrill voice. The children looked round in surprise and saw a small gnome stooping over a stick. His long beard reached into the grass. He had bright green eyes that shone strangely. "I've lost my ball and I can't find it," said the little princess, staring at the strange fellow. "Well, go to the magic well and make a wish for it," said the gnome. "Don't you know what you have to only bend over the well and whisper your wish for it to come true?" "Really?" said all the children, excited. "Well, let's go." "I'll show you the way," said the gnome, and he hobbled along in front of them. He took them to a small glade, a dim and silent place where no bird sang and no rabbit peeped. Peter felt uneasy and wanted to go back, but Fenella shook her curly head at once. "I'm going to wish," she said. "I'm not going back until I've wished for my ball." "Let Mary wish first, or me," said Peter, "just to see if it's all right, you know." "Well, make haste then." Peter bent over the deep well. The water seemed a long way down. Cold air came up from it and he shivered. He knew what he wanted to wish. His mother was often ill. It would be lovely if she could always be well. I wish that my mother may never be ill again, but may always be well and strong, he said firmly. That's a fine wish, said Mary. Now I'll wish. I wish that my daddy will one day be rich and have a fine house, she called down the well. That's a good idea too, said Peter. Now, Fenella, wish for your ball. No. First it's my turn, said the gnome suddenly in a strange voice. He pushed the children aside and leaned over the well. Peter was angry. No, it's Fenella's turn, he said. How dare you be so rude to a princess? The gnome pushed Peter away roughly. Then he suddenly caught hold of Fenella and shouted loudly, I wish to be away, away, away! And, to the children's dreadful dismay, the gnome and Fenella vanished completely. Then there was a gurgling of water, and the well vanished too. Nothing was left of it, not even a brick or a shining drop of water. Fenella's gone, cried Peter, scared. Whatever are we to do, said Mary, trembling. Call her, Peter. Fenella! Fenella! Shouted Peter, looking all through the glade. But there was no gnome at all. Fenella had vanished with the gnome. 1 second, dear children. Hello? Yes. I'm on break at the moment. I've not just started. 8. Yeah, no, that's fine. Alright then, lovely. Thank you. Bye. Oh dear. Anywho. Fenella! Fenella! Shouted Peter, looking all through the glade, but there was no one at all. Fenella had vanished with the gnome. I might have guessed he was up to mischief, said Peter miserably. He had such strange green eyes. We'll have to tell the Lady Rosabelle, said Mary, tears running down her cheeks. So the two of them rushed to the palace with their bad news. Fenella's gone, they cried. A gnome took her away just by the magic well. At once there was a great upset. The gardens were searched from end to end, the well was hunted for, but, of course, it could not be found. You bad children, raged Lord Roland, Fenella's father. Weren't you told not to go near the well? Now the gnome's sly one has got Fenella, and the goodness knows what will happen. He may keep her prisoner, he may sell her for gold, he may even turn her into a black cat and keep her for a servant. I once turned him out of Fairyland, and he vowed he would pay me out for that, and now he has. Go home, said Lady Rosabelle, weeping bitterly. You should be beaten for letting Fenella go near that well. Go home and never come back. The two children ran off at once, scared and miserable. Through the golden gates of Fairyland they went, and back to their cottage home. They found their mother ill in bed. Their father was tending her, dressed in his rough shepherd clothes. Our wishes didn't come true, said Peter, sadly. Mother is ill instead of well, and our father is still a poor shepherd, and not a rich man. Oh, Mother, cried Mary, a dreadful thing has happened. She sank down by her mother's bed and told her everything. This is a terrible thing, said her mother. The poor Lady Rosabelle, and poor little Fenella. Why, oh, why did you let her go near that well? There's only one thing to do. You must go and find the princess. And I shall read chapter 2 for you tomorrow. I hope you've enjoyed it. Good night. Sleep well. I love you. Mwah. Night night.